Assalamu alaikum and welcome to another episode of Dear Masuma, the show that tries to answer your deepest queries and concerns. My name is Sana Araji and we are with the one and only Masuma Ja'far. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
How are you doing today?
Alhamdulillah, how about yourself?
Alhamdulillah, getting there. So we're going to continue answering some of the viewers' questions during this holy month of Muharram. And I have a email from a viewer who is saying, I have 3 children between the ages of 5 and 9, with my husband who is at the moment not working due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It's been very hectic at home due to the children not being able to go to nursery and school. My husband is really not active with the children and this is very distressing, especially because I feel that it gets in the way of me commemorating Imam Hussein alayhi salam during the month of Muharram. I have barely any time to do my du'as, let alone any of the other mustahab acts like going to the small ladies' gatherings where they have majalis, etc. How can I persuade my husband to do more? And is there anything I can say to encourage him to do more with his children?
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I think this is a beautiful question for any time of the year, not just for Muharram. But I think there's a lot of things here that we need to look at. First of all, how do you encourage your husband to do more? One is to recognize that as a wife and a mother, I need to step back. A lot of the times we ask our husbands to get involved with our children, but then we pull them up when they don't do it the way we want it done.
Okay.
Or we'll correct it, or we'll get involved. So if I'm asking my husband to do something, then I need to step back and let him do it, even if it's not done the way I would have wanted it done.
Okay.
And even if it's not done how it's supposed to be done. So recognizing that he's got a different way of doing it, and as long as it doesn't kill my children, it's fine. And he loves them and he's not going to kill them. So I think it's really, really important that we allow them that space to be able to have their own time with their children without us getting involved and constantly correcting them or pulling them up on certain things.
Okay.
Secondly is maybe sort of suggest things that they can do with them, because sometimes they just need a few suggestions. So maybe have specific things. So for example, bath times can be his routine. Okay. So you know what, you're in charge of giving them a bath, massaging them, and then bedtime story and putting them to bed. So if he knows that this is what he's supposed to do, then he'll do it. Whereas if you just tell them, okay, you put him to bed, then they're going to put them to bed maybe without giving them a bath or something. Or, you know, so you actually telling them that this is what you need done. And so then they've got a routine that they need to follow. Or instead of just saying, oh, play with the kids, actually suggest what. So maybe take them to the park and kick a football around, or take them cycling, or give them some suggestions. Because if you just tell them to play with them, then they may just play with them indoors for a few minutes, get bored, and then do something else. Or they may play with them while they're on the phone or doing their own work and doing something else, thinking they're multitasking, but really they're not. The kids know that they're not getting their father's attention.
Okay.
So actually giving suggestions really, really helps as well. Thirdly, maybe doing things as a family, where you do everything, you do something together. So you may go to the park together, or you may, I don't know, go cycling together, or do something together, but also allowing him to have his time with the kids on his own, and you having your time with the kids on your own. So during this pandemic, I think it's really important that every person has their me time, especially as adults. So yes, we'll do things as a family, but I need half an hour or 20 minutes or even 10 minutes where it's just my time. Okay. So you're with the kids and you've got the kids, and I don't want you to ask me anything. I don't want you to, literally it's just my time. Okay. And I think that's really important, because it just gives you that time just to reboot yourself. And again, allowing him his time as well. It's really, really important.
I think during this pandemic, I think it's either gone very well, or it's not gone so well. So especially with women who are used to their husbands being at work all the time, and husbands being used to being outside of the home all the time, it can cause a bit of conflict because the woman feels the man's watching her all the time, and the man feels like he's being watched all the time. So there isn't any of that personal space. So what you were saying was quite ideal. But what if, for example, a husband refuses to do anything and he doesn't want to, or he's depressed because he's not working, and so he's not in the mood and he just wants the woman to do everything?
Unless it's a medical reason, like the depression is so deep that it needs medical intervention, I think then it's conversations that you need to have with your husband if it's not a medical reason. So it's like, you know what, let's talk about how Allah plays into this. You know, where's our trust and reliance on God, and talking, you know, having those conversations is really, really important. Also, reminding him that they're his children, it's his responsibility to ensure that they are being brought up in the right way with the right religion. You're doing it, but it's not your responsibility. It's his responsibility.
Okay.
Islamically, it's his responsibility. So if you're not doing it, he needs to pay someone, you know, a teacher or someone to come in and look after his kids and then teach them the religion, and if he's not doing it himself, sort of thing.
So that's the duty of the father?
Father, not the mother, yes.
Ah, okay.
So that's really important as well, and sort of making him realise that you're actually doing him a favour, but not in a way that, you know, sort of to have a go at him, but to sort of realise that, you know what, this is an opportunity God's given you to actually do it yourself as well. So...
Okay, so Islamically, it's not the mother's duty to teach her children Islam.
It's the father's duty.
It's completely on the...
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And bringing up the children, feeding the children, it's all on the father. It's
Wow.
not on the mother, because the children belong to the father, not the mother.
That's so difficult not to rub that in.
But as a mother,
face.
you're not going to sit back and do it. And again, if you're going to live your life just according to fiqh, it's not going to be a very nice life. There's an akhlaq that comes into it. So, you know, the fiqh tells me that I don't have to cook, I don't have to clean, I don't have to look after the children, I don't have to do anything. But if I actually live my marriage like that, I'm not going to have a very happy marriage.
So I don't understand why, if that is the case, why are men, it's not all men, some men not bothering to do anything when it's their duty to do it?
Because we as women take over, and we
Okay.
don't, we do it and then we moan about it. I feel like we as women do a disservice to ourselves.
So we should just say to them, listen, it's your duty, please could you just ensure that, you know...
Okay, there's a nicer way of doing
how would you say it to your husband?
So I would actually use it as I would say to him, you know, this is an amazing opportunity for you to bond with your children.
Okay.
So actually sort of saying to him, you know, I'm alhamdulillah, I'm blessed that I'm constantly given this opportunity by God. You're not normally, because you're at work.
Okay.
So how would you like to make the most of this opportunity that God has given you?
Right, okay.
Okay.
It's a bit like a salesperson trying to sell something, isn't it?
I think it's actually just not rubbing their faces in it and not forcing them to do something. I think as an adult, whenever you're forced to do something, you will sort of fight against it, because you know, as an adult, you don't want to be told what to do. So again, it's having those conversations, and it's respectful to have those conversations. I think it's really important. And I think as mothers, we can't help but be in our children's lives, and we wouldn't want that taken away from us.
Of course, yeah. It's a
So,
blessing.
you know, it is a blessing, and it's recognizing that it's a blessing. So I'm not saying anything that I don't believe and truly actually live, you know, by. So I'm actually sort of telling him exactly, you know, I am blessed that I am in my child's life. And, you know, and God, alhamdulillah, this pandemic has given you an opportunity to be in your child's life. So, you know, how do you want to make the most of it? What can I do to help you make the most of it?
Okay, so if the husband, I'm not saying this husband, if a husband was to say to his wife, that is your job to teach them, is the wife allowed to kind of say, well, actually, Islamically, it's not?
Yeah, again, you can do it in a respectful way. Islamically, it's actually not. Look, here's the Risala, here's the, you know, the fatwa by whichever marja you're following, that it's actually not my duty, it's your duty, and I'm actually, you know what, doing it, and you should be thanking me for it. Not that I'm doing it for you and I don't want thanks from you as such, but it is actually your duty, so you really do need to step up. I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
And if you turn around and say, you know what, I don't have time, you can make half an hour here or there. You can make time for your children.
Definitely.
How can you not have any time for your family? Your priorities are all messed up then.
Put your phone down for an hour.
Yeah. It's about, you know, organising yourself such that you can make time. So even when they're back at work, it's, you know, they still can make time. So the evenings can be their time with their children. If you've been at home with your children the whole day, I mean, children are amazing. They're beautiful. But as adults, we need our adult time. We need, you know, that time where we can just de-stress ourselves. So, you know, if I know my husband's going to have the children in the evening, then at least I feel like, okay, you know what? At this time when he comes home, then it's my time and I can just relax and he can take over.
Yeah.
And for him, it would be amazing because, okay, he's tired from work, but this is something that would energize him to be with the kids. You know, if you've not been with them all day and you haven't seen them all day, it is quite, you know, energizing to be with them and just, you know, enjoy having bath time, you know, enjoy their bath time with them and then putting them to bed, telling them, making up stories and getting them to tell you stories and things like that.
It's absolutely beautiful. But, you know, a lot of the time I feel like it's a lot of people who come from non-Islamic backgrounds. The fathers, like, they'll be at work all day and they'll come back and they will do these things. I don't know whether it's a Western mentality, which is beautiful. Like, it's like they're following Islam without realizing. Like, they'll be at work all day, they'll be tired, they'll come home, they'll, you know, speak to their children before they go to bed or play. Even though they're tired, they will do things with their kids and push themselves. Whereas, unfortunately, I feel, again, I'm not being negative to any community in particular, but I feel that a lot of men from maybe Islamic backgrounds mainly.
I think it's the culture, because we're brought up as women to sort of believe that it's our duty to cook, to clean, to look after the kids, to do all of these things.
Yes, that's the thing.
And I think because culturally we're taught that, then we live by that, and therefore we don't have expectations from our husband, and therefore then they don't do it because they're not told to do it. And even when we tell them to do it, we either tell them very rudely or very, you know, sort of degrading wise, sort of, you never do anything and you need to do this. And again, that doesn't work. Or we'll micromanage them. And again, that doesn't work. So as women, we need to sort of step back, have those conversations where we sort of say, okay, you know what, there are kids, let's bring them up together. You know, I want you to enjoy your children just as much as I enjoy our children. How are we going to do this? And then come up with, you know, ways that works for both of you, and then stepping back and allowing them that time.
Yeah, that is definitely true. And within, like, this situation, this mother who's finding it difficult to do her supplications and dua and things like that, her sacrificing, maybe doing the majority of the work, isn't that part of her worship?
Yeah.
So will she not get rewarded even more for doing the duty of the father as well as the mother?
Yeah, for sure. And I think I think we need to look at the understanding behind doing all these mustahab acts.
Okay.
It's you know, part of doing mustahab acts is to get closer to Allah. So, you know, all these extra du'as and ziyarats and salahs and things that we recite in order to get close to Allah. Now, if I am bringing up the next generation and I'm bringing up them in a way that they will be the abd of Allah, the slaves of Allah, they will be the Ansar of the Mahdi, they will be practically following Islam, they will be amazing human beings and Muslims and Shias, then surely that is more powerful, and that will have a huger effect on society, on my family, and on myself than the du'as that I recite, which I may be doing ritualistically, I may be doing as a tick box exercise, I may be doing it because that's what I've grown up with and I'm not actually thinking about it. Okay, so I think it's recognizing that everything that I do is an ibadah as long as it's done with the correct niyyah. Right. So if I'm doing the extra du'as with the correct niyyah, that this is supposed to bring me closer to Allah, then I will do it with presence of heart and presence of mind. I will look at what the meaning is, I will try to live those du'as, I will bring some action from those du'as. Okay? If I am bringing up my children with the right niyyah, then I'm doing it in the best possible way that God would want me to do it. I'm looking at how to make them into, you know, decent human beings, decent Muslims, decent Shias. I'm looking at how I can make sure that they have the love of the Ahlul Bayt in them. I make sure that they have a relationship with God. You know, I'm looking at how to do it in the best possible way, where I'm equipping them with everything that they require in order to be the best Muslims, in order to be able to submit to the will of Allah fully. Okay, if my niyyah is I'm bringing up my children so that they can take care of me in my old age, then my niyya's messed up a little bit.
Okay.
Did you see what I'm saying? It's like, so if I'm just bringing up my children because I haven't really thought about it, but that's what I'm supposed to do, then again, because there is no intention and it's not connected to Allah, then I'm not going to do it the best possible way. If my niyyah is I'm doing it because my husband's not doing it, then there's going to be resentment there. Or I'm going to have expectation for my husband, because I did this for you, you're supposed to do something for me. Right. And why are you not doing this for me? Yeah,
no, I understand.
So I need to understand that whatever I'm doing, if the niyyah is for Allah, then my expectation is from Allah. So if my niyyah for doing du'as and extra ibadah, extra mustahab acts like fasting or like, I don't feel the need to tell anyone else. And I know my reward will come from Allah, and I know that I will get something greater from Allah for putting myself through hardship.
Okay.
If my niyyah for bringing up my children is for Allah, then there is no expectation from my children, but the expectation is from Allah. So my children will take care of me. I don't doubt that. But it's because I've taught them to follow God's laws, and God's law says that you should take care of your parents. It's not my expectation, it's God's expectation. Do you see the slightly difference in thinking? So if, God forbid, if my children didn't take care of me in my old age, I would be disappointed, not at the fact that they're not taking care of me, because I'm not worried, because God will take care of me through someone else. If it's not my children, God's not going to abandon me. It'll be through someone else. What will upset me, what will disappoint me, is that I wasn't able to teach my children the importance of taking care of your parents in God's eyes. That's what would upset me as a mother. I didn't do my duty in order to teach them how, the opportunity of taking care of your parents is such a huge opportunity that is sent by Allah. Why would you not take that on board? And this is how it's like even nowadays. It's like, when I want a cup of tea or something, and I'm really tired or something, and I'll say to my kids, I fancy a cup of tea. Will you make me a cup of tea? And they'll say, yeah, of course. And they'll never say no to you. Children will never say no to you, inshallah.
Inshallah,
but they may not get up straight away and do it. Now, alhamdulillah, because I'm still youngish and I'm able to do it myself, I'll get up and do it myself. I won't ask them again. And then they'll turn around and say, but I was making it for you. And I said, yeah, but I wanted the cup of tea then. You know what? It's fine. You missed out on the opportunity. That's fine. Inshallah, God will send you another opportunity. And I don't feel bad. And I'm telling them not from an ego perspective, not from I'm your mother and why didn't you get up and why didn't you do it straight away. But I'm telling them from a perspective of, that's really sad that you missed out on that opportunity. But inshallah, God will give you another opportunity. So I'm actually doing dua for them. And that way, the next time when you ask them, hopefully they'll get up. Hopefully. Because you've taught them through action. And you've taught them, and you've taught them through words, but you've taught them not from your ego. You've taught them, honestly, this is what God wants from you.
That's not beautiful, because you don't really think of it like that. When you break it down like that, that's really how it should be. Because
then I'm taking myself out of the picture. So if I'm inshallah I'm not, but if I'm a rubbish mother, it doesn't matter, because you know what? You have to respect me because of the status that God has given a mother. It's not about me fulfilling, that's my accountability with God, and I'm going to have to answer to that. But don't mess up your akhirah because I've messed up mine. Do you see? It's like, so, especially when the children are teenagers, it's like, they'll have a lot of things that apparently you're doing wrong because you're not seeing it from their perspective. So it's really beautiful at that time. And I don't know how parents bring up children without God, especially when they're going through the teenage years. I really don't understand how you can do it. But at that time to actually say, you know what, I'm not telling you this, God is. What do you want me to do? I'm not going to go against God. I'm not expecting, I would assume that you're not going to go against God. You've been brought up in a way that you understand that you can't go against God. What choice do we have except to follow what God has told us to? Yeah,
and I think that's from the very early on in their life. What you just said now was exactly a conversation I had with my eight-year-old, and I had to say it to her like that. And then, but why does God want me to do this?
That we can try to find out.
And then you can try and find that out. But it's just not allowing them to blame you, that it's not for you.
Exactly.
It's for Allah,
and
getting them to constantly
and again,
remember.
If you build that relationship with God, then they're not going to hate God for it. If you haven't built a relationship, then they're going to start resenting God. So again, making sure you've built the relationship before you start teaching them the fiqh.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's really, really important. Yeah. And then secondly, actually sort of reminding them that, you know what, just because you're a teenager, just because you've got a hormone surging through your body, doesn't give you the right to disrespect me. You have to respect me because that's what God said. Even if you disagree with the way I'm bringing you up, it doesn't matter. You still have to respect me.
Yeah, definitely.
That's important.
I think, like, with this viewer, she has children between the ages of 5 and 9. Depending on whether it's a boy or girl, around 9 is when they become baligh. So before that, I feel they start to get hormonal changes already. So she's probably having to deal with, whether it's a girl, then teaching her about hijab. Teaching her about hijab, is that the mother or is that also the father?
Well, all the religious duties are on the father, but I think as a mother, it'd be easier for you to teach because it's like you know what it feels like to wear hijab and everything. You can actually empathise with the person.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So it's really important. But I think here also, the children are very, very young, so they're still masum.
Of course.
You know, they've not committed any sins as such.
Yes.
So again, recognising that, you know, you may want to go to the majalis yourself because you're going to get more out of it. You're going to be able to concentrate. But to take your child to the majalis is really important because it's allowing them to connect to, again, the soul of Bibi Fatima alayhi salam, who is in every majalis where the Masab of Imam Hussein is recited, to allowing them to sort of see this concept of us coming together because of the love of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, maybe picking up some things, you know, the akhlaq of what it's like to be in a majalis. All of these things are things that they'll learn and benefit from, and the majalis become second nature to them. So if they don't have it in their lives when they grow up, they feel uncomfortable. Yeah. So again, it's really important to ensure that, you know what, as a mother, yes, I'd want to go on my own, but as a woman, I'd want to go on my own, but as a mother, I need to make sure that I'm taking my kids as well, so that they're learning and making this part of their life as well. So I know she wants her husband to step up and do more and be with the children more, but recognising that, again, this is an opportunity sent by Allah for her to take and do as much as she can with the children. It's like, you know, a lot of the times we'll do so many things. It's like, for example, you know, we'll have these lectures and we'll go to these lectures and we'll do all this reading and we'll do all these things. And again, the aim is to get closer to Allah. What best way to get closer to Allah than to bring up another human being to be the servant of Allah, to be the slave of Allah? And I have full power over that human being as a mother when they're young. And I can have so much influence on that child's life. Why would I want to give up on that? It's such an opportunity. And again, we don't see it as an opportunity, but as a burden, especially because it's like, why isn't he doing it? I would be thinking, thank God he's not doing it. That means I get more opportunity. I can do more. Yeah. When he's taking over, I have less time. But at the same time, recognising that I'm human and I need my own time and I need rest as well. So yeah, I need him to help, and having those conversations is important.
Definitely. And one final thing with the going to majalis, like you mentioned, with dad being at home, they could organise where if they've got boys, the boys go with dad to majalis and the girl
go with mum.
You know, I don't know how many boys or girls they have.
Yeah.
But they can sort that out, you know, find a way. Maybe she takes one, he takes two of the younger ones with him, so that at least he's got, you know, he has responsibility with them, and also it's the duty of the father with the,
and also I think it's the boy has to learn from his father to a certain extent, especially the akhlaq of being, you know, in a majalis and how it, because it's different in the men's side and it's different in the women's side, and I think it's important. And for the father to recognise it as an opportunity as well, it's really, really important.
Definitely. No, thank you for that. It's good that we've cleared up the rights, the parenting rights of the father and the duties, which is good. And I'm sure a lot of wives and mothers don't even know the extent of how much is on the father, which is a blessing for them, to be honest.
But also, I think I want to emphasise that we can't live our lives just according to fiqh.
Of course,
it's you know, it doesn't work when we just say, well, you know what, it's the duty's not on me, so you need to take responsibility and just do it yourself. Because one, I'm losing out on the opportunity, and secondly, where's my akhlaq? You know, where's my bonding time with my children? It's like, these are my kids as well. It's like, yes, they might, they may belong to the father, the rights of all of these things are on the father, but I gave birth to them, I carried them for 9 months, I fed them, I took care of them. When they were inside me, the father wasn't doing anything. I was taking care of them. My body was. So again, I'm not going to be able, I don't want to step away. Forget about being able to or not. I don't want to step away from this child. It's part of me.
And it's a blessing.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
For sure.
Thank you so much, Masuma.
Thank you.
And inshallah, hopefully we've covered quite a few different subjects, but hopefully that's helped the viewer and anyone else that is also having similar situations. We can all relate in this pandemic, I'm sure. Inshallah, hopefully, you'll send in more questions and queries, and we'll put it forward to Masuma. And we'll see you soon, inshallah, for another episode of Dear Masuma. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.